Comics. For many, it is entertainment, but flipping through this underexplored medium is an exciting, page-turning approach to conveying climate change awareness. How can comics be superheroes in a climate change awareness game? Let's flip through their untapped potential to spark conversations and make a real impact. Let's go page by page, immersing ourselves in the captivating visuals of science and climate change themed comics or comic strips. These illustrations don't just tell a story, they convey a powerful message that resonates with audiences of all ages. Comics are a medium that uses a combination of illustrations and text to tell a story. According to MacLeod, it is juxtaposed pictorial and other images in deliberate sequence. To Henry John Pratt, comics are narratives telling stories by a sequence of pictures with speech balloons. It is the umbrella term for comic strips, comic books, and cartoons. Comic books are longer form comics, typically within a single story or a collection of stories and often intended for younger audiences. Comic strips are short, serialized comics often found in newspapers. Wortham described it as short stories of cartoon panels relating a brief story and often intended for adults. Cartoons, on the other hand, are equated to comic strips. It can refer to both single-panel cartoons and animated cartoons. But why comics? It's simple. They break down complex climate concepts into bite-sized, understandable pieces. Through relatable characters and storylines, comics transform information into accessible knowledge. Now, let's shift our focus to the Philippines, where significant personalities like Carlo J. Caparas, Vicente Manansala, and even Jose Rizal shaped the rich tapestry of comics. The beginnings of Filipino comic strips may be traced back to Rizal's Monkey and the Tortoise in the late 19th century. Fast forward to the 1920s and we see the resurgence of Filipino culture with Kabalbalan ni Kenyo, a comic classic by Romualdo Ramos and Tony Velasquez. Kenkoy, a humorous figure, evolved into a prism that reflected cultural shifts from traditional to contemporary ideas. Let's fast forward a bit to the contemporary scene in the Philippines, where the rise of the internet has opened doors for a new generation of comic artists. Filipino cartoonists are using social media to represent contemporary issues. According to Flores, comics are not just sources of enjoyment, but also instruments for educational and political commentary. But what about the pressing issues of our time like climate change? Comics, particularly in the digital age, are making waves in visualizing global problems. Artists like Tarantadong Calvo, also known as Kevin Raimundo, are using comics to create awareness. His work, Tumindig, went viral, sparking a movement recognized with the Good Design Award. In the context of climate change, Raimundo's contribution to the exhibit 10 Years to Save the World showcases the potential of comics to stimulate action. Let us now hear from the professionals. First, Michael Angelo Francisco, co-founder of FlipScience.ph, throws a light on the Philippine comics environment. Michael believes that comics are a powerful medium for raising awareness of social issues and spreading ideas. He highlights how comics appeal to Filipinos because they value beautiful art and are visual learners. Michael is a supporter of using comics to foster empathy and dispel the myth that science is solely reserved for the very intelligent. The next speaker is editorial cartoonist and seasoned freelancer artist Stephanie Bravo Similia, who discusses the value of comic strips in spreading awareness of climate change. Stephanie emphasizes the significance of visual communication, claiming that textual pieces lack the same impact as photographs. She highlights how images facilitate global understanding, overcoming linguistic obstacles, and improving accessibility in communications about climate change. Stephanie also talks about the difficulties that the illustration industry is facing from digitization. Finally, let's hear it from Timothy James DeMacali, the creator of the comic book Sky Gypsies, who offers his perspectives on how comics might be used to confront climate change and imagine the future. DeMacali emphasizes the importance of putting Filipinos, especially indigenous people, at the forefront while highlighting the power of comics to visualize the effects of climate change. He thinks comics are a great way to communicate ideas and may help to clarify complicated topics. Comics humanize and personalize the subject of climate change, creating an emotional connection that goes beyond merely disseminating facts. Comics have limits even if they have benefits like making complicated material understandable to a wide audience and drawing readers in with engaging imagery and narrative. They may not always be taken seriously by all audiences and tend to oversimplify complex issues. Even so, comics have a universal language, transcending borders. They provide a lens into diverse perspectives, fostering a global understanding of environmental challenges. Unmasking the potential of comics in climate change awareness campaigns is significant. With its power of visual storytelling, comics leaps off pages and into the hearts of readers. With its double-edged sword, it can balance entertainment and actionable information. Every panel, every character, and every short story contributes to a more informed and empowered world.